What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone. And is the club finally moving? Even if we don't agree with the targets, are they finally being decisive about their own targets and trying to swoop it? Well, according to reports, yes, because we are very close to signing Jadon Sancho. Actually, the club wants to finalize it ASAP because everything is basically in place. Yes, we need to sell Nico Gonzalez, but the club doesn't want to waste time for reasons I will talk in a sec. And Kolo Muani talks are being picked up because Kolo Muani wants to join Juve and he's basically asking the club to speed things up a little bit, because if the club cannot sign him, then obviously with the World Cup around the corner, he wants to have clarity on his future and he needs to find a suitable place to play football next season and get into the World Cup squad, obviously, with Didier Deschamps and the French national team. So before we get into it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive straight into a 70 million euro package. Okay, so the thumbnail is 70 million euros. Why? Because that's probably what we will end up spending for both these players. Let's start with Jadon Sancho. It's extremely close. We agreed with him. He wants to join us. That's it. We agreed almost with Manu between 15 and 20 million euros and paying some of what they owe Jadon Sancho, whilst the club probably will get, terms like we got with Porto when it came to Conceição, where it's like we will pay that 20 million euros in 2-3 financial years, whatever. It probably will be something like that. The news is that it's extremely close. Basically, everything is in place, but the club wants to speed it up, and Jadon Sancho wants the club to speed it up as well because it's been dragged on way too long, in my opinion. I think everyone involved, Manu want to resolve that issue, Jadon Sancho want clarity, and the club wants this player. We know we need to sign Nico Gonzalez, but if you do not do that, then, well, obviously players are going to leave. If you want a player, and this is not about do you like Jadon Sancho, this is just in general, players are not going to wait until the end of August and then they are, with no options if it doesn't happen? Players need clarity, and that's what's basically happening. Everyone is pushing for this deal to get resolved ASAP, so everybody knows, okay, I'm playing for Juve, I have Jadon Sancho, and Manu know, okay, we have Jadon Sancho off the books. That's basically the situation. So they met again, they agreed everything basically, besides some details between Juve and Manu when it comes to certain payments. But other than that, the big picture is, yeah, we will give you that type of wage, and Manu, you're going to get around that. Let's put the dots on it and sign those papers so we can all move on basically with our day and move on to different targets. Maybe finally that backline. On Kolo Muani, the same thing. New talks this week will take place. Maybe today, tomorrow, maybe, the next 3-4 days, We want Kolo Muani. He wants to play for us. PSG want to sell permanent. They will probably do a loan deal with an obligation, but they want around 50 million euros all included. Now, we paid around 5 to 7 million euros to get him on loan. We need to lower that demand because I think that's too much for Kolo Muani. And I like Kolo Muani, but that's way too much money. Because if we pay 50, 60 million total for Kolo Muani, I want a player that gets 20 goals, basically. That's what I'm expecting, If everyone chips in, cool. But if we pay that money, I'm expecting that. I don't think Kolo Muani can give that right now. I think he's not that player, So that's too much money. I don't think the club can haggle way too long saying we want a loan and an option, because at that point PSG are going to tell us move on. And I know they're in a difficult situation as well, PSG. Okay, financially not, but they want to move them out. And Kolo Muani's like, I want to join Juve. Yes, there's interest from the Premier League, but nobody really approached Kolo Muani. At us, he's going to start. At Chelsea, he's not going to start. So forget about that. Maybe Tottenham. Is he going to start over Solanke? Maybe. I have no idea. Maybe Tottenham will come in and pay PSG what they want. And Kolo Muani's like, okay, this is taking way too long. I'm just going to join Tottenham. But right now, you have Kolo Muani's word that he wants to play for you. And you need to leverage that. You cannot waste time. You need to leverage that towards PSG. And basically say, maybe we will pay you 50 million right now, but you need to lower that demands for the obligation, and you need to spread out the wages, the payments. Maybe it's something like that, but whatever it is, it needs to speed up. But you also are going to need to put pressure. That puts more pressure on Vlahovic. Find a club that, in my opinion, sends a signal to Vlahovic: we're not waiting on you. You're gone. No matter what, you're gone. Just find a solution. because you're gone. These things need to happen. It needs to happen soon. Vlahovic needs to leave. All these players need to know they're not part of the squad anymore. And the players who are part of the squad anymore need to be in training camp ASAP. That's important. And they also need to know as soon as possible that they're part of the team. And also, we need to move on to the back line. Even if we have a feeling it's not going to be resolved, the back line, it must. It really must. And we can talk about, do we need a midfielder? Depends. Is Douglas Luiz leaving? Yeah, probably, but still no offers. Still moving slow. Is McKennie signing a new contract? No, then, well, you need to sell him, but no offers. If these guys leave, you're going to need to improve or get signings in. But that backline needs to improve, and you're going to need to sell players. Even if you don't sell defenders, you need defenders. One, maybe two. But you need defenders. And that's basically what's happening at the club. Excuse me. Are we signing those defenders? No. Yes. But when it comes to these players, the attacking players, you need Kolo Muani, or you need somebody in this position. And if you move on Nico and you're assuming you need a Nico, you also need somebody else. So close these deals so you can move on. And maybe focus on getting Douglas Luiz out of the club because you don't like Douglas Luiz. Or moving on McKennie because you don't want to give him a new contract. Or moving out a Kelly because you finally want to improve. But the more time you spend on the deals that you know you're going to do, but are just haggling on a couple of millions, you might miss out on certain things. And you might waste so much time that you will end up in a situation where it's like, oh, snap. This is not good. We messed up. So that's important. If you have main targets as a club, when you can close it, you need to close it because everything can happen. So let me know in the comments. 70 million euro package for both of them. Do we need to close it ASAP? Do you think the club will close it ASAP so we can finally move on? Because, things need to move. Again, they need to move. Let me know. Like, subscribe, and I will speak to you guys tomorrow. Ciao.